If you got to jump off, now's the perfect time to do it. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be very special. You definitely don't want to miss it. Congrats on completing the first day of Conductor. It's a big one. Keep at it. Keep on the journey. There's really something here for you. So well done today. Thanks for joining. For those of you that want to stick around, I want to know a little bit about what is this. Let's bring it back to speaking for a second. What does this have to do with musicality? Why do we play this game? What does it actually train when it comes to speaking? Who wants to kick us off? Yeah, let's do Antonia first.
The spontaneous part where the energy actually drives the content. It feels like it's part of it, like where you get an 8 and your voice goes and energy goes high, and then suddenly the content flows differently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me write that for us to tattoo on ourselves. Energy drives content. That's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. Who can add to that? Who can flavor that?
I'd say make it personal, makes it stick.
Okay, we're going to speak in wonderful aphorisms. Making it personal makes it stick. I like that. Yeah, that's very, very good.
Yeah, I found similar energy drives content. That's when I was able to get the highs and the lows. Because if you try to fit in content that's not really a high into a high, it makes it, for me, it feels less natural. So, yeah, almost let the numbers pick what I'm going to say next. That's when it felt like I got the most out of that exercise.
But how? How can we let the numbers drive what we say next? How can we allow that type of unpredictability into our speaking? I mean, everything's going to crash and crumble.
Well, I guess it's like rapid fire, but just with numbers instead of words, right?
Let's explore this. How can we let the numbers drive the content, the energy drive the content? I mean, isn't that a ridiculous thought? To not plan it out and to just kind of whatever the number goes, I guess I'll go there and my content will be whatever it ends up being.
It creates aliveness because you're now speaking the unknown that just popped in right then.
Aliveness. That's a quality in speaking that is very, very, very rare and very, you can sense it in someone. Perhaps the greatest quality of it all. Yeah. Who else?
I would say that it allows you to, not your mind to speak, but your feelings to speak. If you allow yourself to connect with your feelings and the content itself, I think that's the whole secret about the energy drives content. In fact, if we go deeper, the feelings drive the content.
Wow. Okay. I like this a lot. So feelings drive the content. So you're not talking from your mind so much, as Guillermo is saying. You're talking from something else. Interesting. Ivan, what's coming up for you for all this?
Yeah, I was just linking what both the things that Guillermo said actually. Making it personal makes it stick, and the feelings drive the content. They kind of feed each other, right? If it's not personal, then there's no feelings around it. And so it's much harder to like tap into those different numbers because you don't really care about what you're saying. Whereas as soon as it becomes personal, then no matter where you're going to, there will be a feeling that you'll be driven to with what you're saying.
I think that I could tell the quality of a speaker based on this one statement alone. How much do you care about what you're saying? Conductor helps you care, for sure. Feelings help you care. Making it personal helps you care. Yeah, they aren't laws. You don't have to make it personal. You don't have to share your feelings. But when people care about something, there's an aliveness to their speaking. They infuse what they say with some sort of energy, because if they didn't, then no one would care. They wouldn't care. So caring about what you say might be the most important piece of it all. But it's hard to just tell somebody to just care. And that's it. That's the course. Janice.
Claire, I also think in the context of storytelling, that once you live your story while you're telling it, that there's like a huge difference. If you just tell the story to speak something, or while you telling it, you just relive like all the emotions, everything that's in that story, then the audience is with you. Like there's no way that they don't also live the story in a way.
So much depth there. Yeah. Tamina.
I was going to, I agree with that. So I think the best stories come out when you're reliving the memory, and it's almost like you're not almost not present in the conversation. Well, you are, but you're not at the same time, because you're literally going through that again, and then that comes out so much during the storytelling.
Yeah, you're almost not here because you're there. You're in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're in it. So caring about what you say is another way to put it, is how in it are you?
You're not in that moment. Probably you're so conscious about, your thought process is not that particular moment. You're thinking of something else. You're not connecting to your thought. I think when we have to speak, I think what I was thinking was, whole day you speak with so many people, right? And if you have to record what we are speaking, I don't think we find it so difficult to speak to people. But now when we are playing in front of so many people, we find it so difficult even to speak for 2 minutes. When you're asked to speak for 2 minutes, you find it so difficult to speak. We are analyzing so much. Why is that so? Is it like we are not letting it go? Like we are a lot of inhibitions when we are talking in front of somebody. Is it that that's what holds it back?
Yeah, that's a great question. You ever see what's the difference between speaking and public speaking?
Public speaking, is it like you're speaking in, I don't know. Maybe it's you're speaking in front of somebody's in here, they're listening to you. I don't know. I really don't know. What's the difference? Tell me, I think this is a very interesting.
It's very interesting. I don't know. What's the difference?
Difference between speaking and public speaking.
Right here.
Mark's pointing to his head.
Right here. How we decide. Somehow it's different. Somehow it's more, the stakes are higher. Somehow the pressure's on. This means everything. I might lose my job. They won't let me.
Yeah.
I'll be kicked out of the tribe. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we, who was that? Sudan?
It was me, but I don't want
to hear me. Yeah. No. Please.
I would say that speaking is when you are in a safe environment and you trust that you're not being judged, and at least you believe you're not being judged. And public speaking is when your mind gets in the way and you feel that you're being judged, and perhaps you're not.
Yeah. Well, since you've done this before, I'll pick it apart a little bit. We're always being judged, first of all. Can't help it. Everyone's judging us. Self-talk is a big indicator of how much that judgment gets to us. And you're right, yeah, public speaking versus speaking, judgment comes into a big part of it. But who cares about what the difference actually is? Let's decide on which one we prefer, and let's create our own definition. Right? And the more we create a separation between how we are with our friends and how we are with each other and how we are with the audience or our coworkers, the more of a gap there is. Okay, well, now we need 2 sets of rules, 2 identities, 2 rule books. Yeah, 2 masks. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. I think we make a kind of formal image in our head when it comes to public speaking. We tie it with a lot of formalities. I recently went to a comedy show, and there were 3,000 other people there. It'd been rescheduled from before the pandemic, and finally it happened. And it was amazing because the comedian, I literally felt like, and my friend that was with me, we felt like we were in a conversation with him. Like we were talking, he was saying stuff, and it made you feel as if he was speaking directly with you. And everyone was kind of like almost talking back with him and interacting. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, conversation. That's a big one. What's the difference between public speaking and conversation?
I feel like there's a little more awareness around the composition of what you're saying and who your audience is. If you're talking to the public, you have to be aware of who you think the public is. So, for example, if I'm talking to a room full of Taiwanese American parents and grandparents older than 70, I'm going to speak differently than if I'm speaking to a bunch of unschooled teenagers. So
Yes. Of course. Of course. Would you speak differently to them if there were 2 of them versus 4 of them versus 8 of them?
I think so. I mean, when I was younger, I did a lot of struggle around how many faces I had or how many faces and then at some point I thought, well, actually, that's a superpower. Like, it's actually about flexibility and resilience that I have so many ways of being with so many different people that I can talk to across cultures and generations and, whatever. So
Absolutely.
But there is like a difference in how I would speak to 2 versus 10 or 100.
If you allow me to expand on that, at least for me, for example, when the YouTubers that make success, right? They talk with millions and millions of people, right, throughout their videos. But the ones that are the most successful and that we can relate, it feels like they're talking directly to us. So it felt like a conversation to us itself. Usually they use singular or something like that. And perhaps it's so different in a theater, in an audience, because people are not judging what older people are thinking about what they're hearing. If they felt that is a conversation directly to them, and in a public speak, if we talk like we're talking with 1 people, perhaps it's the same approach as on a YouTube video for millions of people. Don't know, just rambling.
Well, what's crazy about that example is they're not actually talking to even 1 person. They're talking to a camera. They're talking to an object. So really, they're talking to themselves. And so what's cool about what Antonia's saying is she has many selves. By being able to speak with the 70-year-old Taiwanese woman and the 13-year-old teenagers and having a way to relate to them differently, that's understanding different sides of humans and also embodying that. But really, if you take the humans out of it, the computer screens out of it, what's left is something that's just in here. Expressing.
One thing that came up for me when Antonia said that you're becoming more aware, more conscious of the audience, the people you're speaking to. For me came up that I'm also becoming more aware of myself, but I feel sometimes in a way that it kind of restricts my speaking, because maybe I'm projecting what kind of role others are putting me in, or I'm trying to jump into a particular role which I feel fits the situation around me, but which is actually not natural to me at all. So I'm trying to put myself into that frame, and when I notice when I do this, when I'm not in a natural role, then this conversational thing that just goes away.
Yeah, something that just came up when you speak in Genesis, that it's hard to pinpoint, but I feel like the more I've been doing the ultra speaking work and other kinds of work, like to get the thinking mind out of the way, I feel like my masks have lessened in number somehow. It's like there's less of them, and I'm showing up just as me, this one version of me, in more places, like with my thoughts, or with a kid, or with a stranger on the street. There's less change happening, there's less role taking that's happening. And that just feels it feels good in my system. It's like, yes, that feels right.
Wow.
All of you are speaking my heart out together collectively. And when Shobana, when you mentioned, or we started with, why is the conversation more comfortable than public speaking? For me, this journey was the complete opposite. Why is public speaking so comfortable, but when I have to have a one-to-one conversation, I'm frightened? And what Ivan said at the end is, my masks are now, it's just one mask. I'm like Mark Zuckerberg. I wear the same t-shirt every day. No problem. That one mask is all I need. And if I'm having a conversation with a 5-year-old and a 75-year-old next to me, it's still going to be the same person. And I've seen that seep into I gave interviews recently. I got moved to a new country, and I just feel like I have the mask, and the name of the mask is freedom. It's myself. And that's what's coming over time with doing the reps again and again.
I feel like there's
The way
less
I
pressure.
visualized it was the masks. I integrated them all because I had so many. And I just pulled them all in flexible freedom. Yeah. Sorry, Kamina.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I feel like, to echo what Ivan and Aman were saying, there's less pressure to be this and be that and say this and say that. Like, you could just come up, literally, just, there's no pressure. You can just be yourself. Like, well, I can be myself. That's what I found.
I have something to say that, I mean, when I had to convince my wife, like, why am I doing this course? She would be like, oh, no more courses or something like that. So then I would say that, oh, I wanted to be a good public speaking. Inside, I knew that I'm very uncomfortable with speaking in people. I mean, even with my friends also, like, I'm the person who would be like just keeping quiet and not talking. I mean, thinking of a time where you don't need to speak, or please don't make me speak, sort of thing. So deep down, I knew that, public speaking and speaking in public is the same thing. What I think is the different thing is the musicality. I mean, if a person is speaking in a low energy and a high energy, that is what makes the difference. And if a person is able to quite change the musicality, the energy levels frequently, that is what connects us
Yes.
to that person.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Let's put this quote here. Something we hear frequently from our loved ones. No more courses. Yeah, like it's a journey. And I wouldn't say that I'm finished it by any means. There's still many conversations, many group conversations where I feel I don't have much to offer. Maybe I don't want to be in it. Maybe I feel different. Maybe it's hard to relate. And so for those of you that are experiencing little victories, like I feel more comfortable in this dynamic or in this environment, that's what it's all about. Because I think what Tristan discovered when he was going through the different stages of the World Championships and practicing in front of different audiences, and he would give his speech in front of Toastmasters, but then also in front of improv students and then high schoolers, and then he'd be asked to give a toast at a wedding and it felt totally different, is that it's all about the environment. And there are some environments where we feel super comfortable, super ourselves. I don't remember who said it, but we basically feel like we disappear into another moment. There's some environments where we're hyper conscious of ourselves and we're so aware of ourselves that it gets in the way and we're in our head and we don't like it, it doesn't feel good. So what we're trying to do is train for all environments. And that's very difficult, obviously. So instead of going into all environments, we try to practice a way of being that we can control. And then when we get into a new environment, we don't know what to do in the environment, but we know what to do in our little vessel and access that way of being. We have many identities, many masks. Some are great. It's nice to be able to turn off the camera and then go into my recording studio and be a rapper and put on a backwards hat and use swear words, and it's nice. That's kind of a part of my identity, but I wouldn't do it here until week 5. So it's okay to be many people for many people, but what's not okay is to not like who we are and to wish we were different but feel like we can't change. So this is the playground to say, well, maybe you can change and become more of you in ways that you like. This is a beautiful group with many insights that are coming way too soon. So I don't know what's going on in the breakout rooms, but it's happening too quickly. Thanks for sharing and thanks for being here. Congrats on everything you're experiencing. I'm going to speak with the coaches, tell them to turn up the flame a little bit, turn up the heat, make things a little harder. But until then, it's wonderful having you. Thanks for being a part of this. And please come tomorrow. It's going to be very special. Well done.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.